Hello, everyone. So let's change the pace a little bit. So I'm going to be talking about a different kind of problem. I think we've talked about very interesting things on the stage today. There were discussions about molecules, biology, industry. Let's talk about people, humans, and enterprises connecting with humans. So my presentation is going to be about that. I'm Doruk Mutlu. I've been in the industry for 25 years, dealing with MarTech most of my career. And I want to share some of my observations first. It's 2026, almost a quarter of a century I've been working in the field, and it's always been about the same thing. Customers, they want personalization, they want to feel special in order to connect with the brands. And the different brands and businesses, and they've been investing since 2000. I mean, back then, Siebel and then other technologies, it just keeps changing. But they continue investing. Let's just put this into numbers. So this past year, global annual MarTech spend was $200 billion. In 2011, there were 150 MarTech tools. Today, there's 15,000. So that's a 100 times increase. And just over 1 year, the AI investment quadrupled in the enterprises that use these MarTech technologies. So that means we should be in good shape, right? Well, if you ask the leaders, what the leaders say is, 82% of the leaders say, hey, we really understand our customers. Whereas, if you turn to the consumer, the story is quite different. The consumer story tells something else. Only 8% of consumers feel they are really understood by the brands they interact with. So think about a bank, a telecom company. Maybe the digital natives are a little bit different in that context, but your airline, none of these companies really understand your context. Let me give you an example of a personal experience that I had to really clarify what I mean by that. I was recently traveling to New York, and at 3 a.m., I got a message from my bank telling me, hey, get a cashback offer, 3% cashback on your petrol purchase, if you do it within the next so many days. Then about a week later, when I was in London, and I was actually traveling, I had rented a car, and I had to visit a customer here. So it said, right when I was at the petrol station, I didn't get the same offer, but I got a completely irrelevant offer. Again, I was here for business meetings, and I live in Amsterdam. So that weekend when I went to Amsterdam, first I got an offer for an upgrade to a dining rewards program by my bank. But the same day when I used my card in Amsterdam, which is where I live, the bank blocked my card because, you're moving around so much, so there's probably something wrong with it. So this is what those 25, 30 years of investments into MarTech has brought us to. So banks that constantly miss the context and customers' connections that always go missing. Why does this happen? There's two distinct lenses. Companies see themselves in functions, KPIs, and channels, and customers look for, the key moments. I need something right now. Right now is the worst time to send me a message because I'm definitely not going to look at it. But if some algorithm says, hey, on a Tuesday morning, exactly at this time, Doruk is likely to respond to his messages, well, it's wrong. It's not the context, it's just the average. So I have my needs, my moments, my context, and these keep getting mixed. This is not because the employees don't know what they're doing. This is not because the businesses aren't investing enough. The reason is quite different. These problems are just the beginning. This is just the tip of the iceberg. 90% of what's wrong here is under the surface. And that comes down to the architecture. But before we move to the architecture, let's put the customer in the middle. And let's take a look at it from the business perspective. So marketing says, hey, I want to be relevant to my customer. I need to connect with them in moments. And, talking with the technology team, everything always needs to happen yesterday. When you take a look at the technology team, they say, stop, there's too many tools. There's security, there's guidelines, there's processes. I need to get everything right. We need to ensure compliance. And then the data team says, wait, I need to update my model. I need more data. I need to focus on this. The one that keeps losing here is both the customer and the business, because these two can't meet in the middle. And the reason that all of this is happening is because we built everything on yesterday's architecture. The moment is there, but the system can't move. The problem isn't with the people. It isn't with the budget. It's the fact that the architecture was built to select from the past and not to respond to right now. I'm going to try to make it a little bit more stark by giving you this example. I don't know if any one of you is into taxidermy, which means taking dead animals and stuffing them with things to make them look alive. I feel that it's a thing of the past. Today, that's, to put it politely, it's out of fashion. I believe all of the architecture that we have, so with the data warehouses, with business intelligence, with, when you had more data, you stopped calling them data warehouses, data lakes, data oceans, fabrics, whatever you want to call them. It's all yesterday's dead data. It's no longer the customer that you have today. Today's moment is here, and yesterday's moment was there. So if you try to take a profile and try to stuff it with yesterday's data in order to make it look alive and relevant, you are trying to make a dead thing act live. Customers are about who they are now. This past is very important, but what's happening now is even more important. Right now, when I'm looking at your faces, we're interacting face to face. This is how humans communicate, and it creates triggers, emotions, and that's what you really need to move on. So I don't know if any of you know Scott Brinker. Scott Brinker has a website called Chief of MarTech, which is a very authoritative site in the MarTech domain. So what he wrote about a month ago is that software as a service modes are crumbling. We all know that. The opportunity is in the context, in the MarTech space. So context as a service is the new product. So this is what he said, which is exactly in line with what we're saying. So what we believe as EVAM, and where we started about 10 years ago, is that you need to have context dead center. We were built around processing live customer signals, capturing these signals, understanding the customer context, making these decisions, and taking actions in real time. I apologize, by the way, for the format change. This looked perfect on my computer, so something must have happened in the translation back there. So where do we go from here? Like I said, we've been doing this for 10 years. And some of our customers, large enterprises like telecoms, banks, which have the hardest time connecting well with their customers, we've been capturing billions of these signals every day and reacting within the customer's context. Now, in the last 2 years, we've been experimenting with AI and doing more and more. So we built MCP protocol within this. We're able to do multi-agent orchestration and talk to real-time data. So you can just easily prompt, talk to real-time data, and figure out the best new experiences for your customers. So that's where we believe the future is going. So it has to be real-time. It has to ground itself in the past data. And then you need to really get the contextual experience right in order to move your customers forward, in order to give them the experiences that they deserve. That's why neobanks are taking away market share from the legacy banks. That's why the new incumbents built on technology that they just produce outperform the incumbents. So we're enabling large enterprises, large businesses to be like the digital natives. So as I wrap my presentation, I just want to leave you with this. AI gave everyone the same tools. Context is really the only thing you have left that's yours. So all of your competition is using AI too. So since the morning, we've been listening to AI. So I need you to ask yourself, what can I do unique to my own bank, unique to my own company in order to connect with my customers that my competitor doesn't have? Where do I get these contexts and signals that my competitor doesn't have? Well, I want to say thank you very much to everyone, as my time is running out. And please feel free to connect with us. We have a stand in the second floor here. So I look forward to connecting with you at our booth. Thank you very much.